All right, I got another story map presentation. Mine's not going to the website. I'm just using the PowerPoint. But my name is Tim Blanchard. I am GIS tech at the city of Greenville, and I just wanted to go over our historic landmarks and districts story map. So this is kind of when you go there, what you'd see there. We were directed to make this story map. My predecessor actually made this map this story map, and it was to show off, kind of catch the HPC up to speed on what our properties were, what our landmarks were. We were having board members come on that were unfamiliar with some of the historical landmarks. So this was a direction from the planning head to try to target them, getting them up to speed, giving them a little paragraph, and helping them navigate what we have. So when you scroll down, you have a couple bookmarks here that show what we're looking at, the historic districts, the local landmarks, and then the welcoming here. And just tells you a little bit about what we've got going on. That we have 33 local landmarks. We've got some National Register landmarks. And then we've got our 5 historical districts, historical districts downtown. And then we go down, we talk a little bit about the landmark designation process. Again, more information to try to catch our HPC members, the Historic Preservation Commission, up to speed on what's the process for this, why would people be interested in doing this. It talks about the tax deferral and everything like that. It's a good way to catch them up to speed quickly with this kind of resource. And then this is the local landmark map, which is really easy to show them. It's a little bit outdated. We do need to kind of do another lift. I just updated it when we had more landmarks added. We had recently 2 cemeteries and an art studio added. And so maintaining it and updating it and everything like that. It does need to be brought up to the newest. I think there's another version of story maps that might need to be ported to. But as soon as I do that, I'm sure a new version of story maps will be coming down the pipeline as redoes it. On the left here, you can see some of our listing of our landmarks, and it brings you to each one of these points. This is an example of one of them, our municipal building downtown, right across from City Hall. It gives you a picture that was taken by staff, and this little paragraph over here, and very useful. We have it open to the public. That way, if the public wants to see what we have, they can look at it too, but the main goal of it was to get our HPC members up to speed. Then we go to the historic districts, just a little blurb about why we have historic districts, and there's some pictures of the areas and everything. Then we go to our map for it. As you go through it, it shows you the area and gives you a little bit of overview of what it is, and then we have the link to the actual survey that explains what the boundaries are, the actual legal definition of what that historic district again is, so that way, I hit that button too soon, our HPC members can understand what the bounds of that historic district is, and tie that back to any of our landmark points and see if there's a reasoning for putting landmarks in districts and whatever they need to take into consideration when they're brought these cases before them. Let's see. And then a little bit about going through and editing it is always one of these fun things. Like I said, I probably need to bring it up to a newer version, but when you look at it, you want to make sure that you publish your changes, you push the publish button, and that it's actually published out there. Many times you'll go through, you'll make all your changes, and your boss will look at it, or somebody on council will look at it and say, you haven't made any changes, what's up? You forgot to hit the publish button. It's still there, you can go in there and hit that publish button, but I'm pretty sure it's happened to all of us at some point or another. Some of the overviews of the editor, it's very easy to edit these things and put it together. You can drop these pins down. We have our staff members, our planning staff have a camera that they can go out in the field and take a picture of the location. Our liaison to the HPC council, our planning liaison, and our lead planner will workshop a little blurb to put in here to kind of describe what the site is. And yeah, you just can add in a new slide, very easy. What kind of the map type element is up here as well. And so this is just a map tour that you use to navigate through all these points. And then we have the district map, which is a different map, and this one is also the editing view here. You can see how it's a sidecar thing, so when you go through it, it just kind of slides around to each one of these different districts and tells you a little bit about them. Very easy to add a slide and publish it out there. It's a very quick tool to get this kind of information to the people who need to see this information. And that's all I got for you. Any questions?
All right, thank you, Tim.
All right.
Because this was an opportunity to show some cool lore of the communities in that apparently it's rumored that Bonnie and Clyde spent a night at this house. There is absolutely no information to back it up. I searched, but you know, it's very prevalent lore, and so it was really cool to include that. Additionally, this house, the Gardner house, Miss Margaret Bright was daughter of CJ and Sarah Bright, lifelong resident, lived in this house, and I had seen her name mentioned in numerous of our community tours, but really as like a side character. And so in like trying to figure out like why was she mentioned in all these different places, I was able to find out that she was a graduate of Meredith College. She also was a faculty member at Meredith College. Oh, and now I'm zooming out. All right. I promise I know technology. And then the really cool part for me was finding out that she actually was the first caretaker of the Meredith College class dolls, and now the dolls are displayed in a gallery that is named after her. And I was able to find this out through cemetery records, through newspaper articles, and a whole slew of other historical artifacts. And so it was just a really cool experience to kind of tie all these different stories together. Again, you can see some more pieces in here. And then finally, you know, we were able to tell the story of some communities that don't necessarily get as much attention in our community, specifically around the Stewart family, who were huge members of both the Friendship community and the neighboring New Hill community. On the complete opposite end, that's not mine, that is. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum, we have the WAPS community. So this community is basically non-existent at this time. The community members have left. Their physical structures are gone, and it's basically been redeveloped into a new subdivision, as you can see over here. And so we had to work really closely with the remaining community members and community champions to really try to look at historical satellite imagery to figure out, you know, where is this kind of crossroad that you're talking about? What kind of looks like the house that you mentioned? And the interesting thing about this one also is that for this community, the families that made up the community were more important to them and where they lived than like a store, a pond, or anything like that. So for this community tour, you know, most of the locations here are going to be family homes. And a couple of churches, but mostly family homes, mostly where these people lived. And being able to tell a little bit of their story throughout all of this. This one also is one that has a lovely video embedded. And then going down further, you can see, like, again, they really cared about the families that were a part of this community. And so that was more the focus as opposed to a historic structure. Yeah, so we ended up making 9, I think. It's 9 or 10. Community tours, and each of them is a little bit different, but they were pretty well received, and yeah, that's all I got.
I actually, I thought that I didn't read very well. I thought it was whoops. I was like, so what's the whoops gonna be?
So the name behind, or the reasoning behind the name is there's a lot of legends, but I think my favorite is about you can't believe anything that comes out because of the people talked big, and so you couldn't believe anything that came out of the neighborhood because they were such whoppers of stories, so it became a WAP neighborhood. And I was like, that's great. I love it. It's beautiful.
All right, thank you, Jenny.
Of course. Oh, yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I do not. I was brought in kind of late to the game because they thought it was going to be walking tours, and then about 2 months before they were due, they said, uh-oh. And so I was given sort of the collections and went from there to do a little bit of research there, but I do not have a cultural preservation or library sciences background. Yeah. All right.